Welcome into the UTRGV Coaches Show. After a Week 4 win for the Vaqueros, 4 in a row, we are joined by the head coach of the UTRGV football team, Travis Bush. Congratulations, a 4-0 start to the season. We mentioned every week, can't be any better than 4-0 right now, so it has to feel good.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's the best we could be right now. So, excited to finish up non-conference the way we did and look ahead to conference play now.
A 61-13 win over Texas Wesleyan. You guys, once again, a strong first half, up 40-0 against Texas Wesleyan. What do you like from the first half from your guys?
Really like the way we executed. We knew they would be a tough team. They're well coached and sound. They moved the ball well, but the big thing, defensively, we kept them out of the end zone, and that's the biggest stat we're concerned with. Offensively, again, they gave us some fits. We were able to convert some third downs, keep some drives moving there, and then with the points there at the end of the first half on defense and special teams, kind of added on there.
And you guys obviously got off to a quick start as you have in all of these games. Offense was moving Eddie Lee over 200 passing yards in the first half. How do you feel about the offense's performance overall with Eddie Lee running the show again in this fourth week?
It was good. It was good. Again, we've scored a touchdown the first series of every game, and so this week to come away with no points was disappointing there. We felt like we missed some opportunities, and again, we created some explosive plays there. Came back the second series with Tony. We're able to get in a little rhythm there, but still felt like we missed some things, and they did a good job. And they spun to different coverages and did a lot of different things defensively. But overall, we were able to again keep the running game going. If you can run the football effectively, then that gives you a chance.
Overall, now that we're kind of at the end of the non-conference season, do you feel like you got what you wanted from the team out of this non-conference slate?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the biggest thing was we're 4-0. That's the best we could be. So the biggest thing there was being able to get in a rhythm, win some ball games, and really kind of learn about yourself, learn about your team, and who are the guys that you need to put in the right spots and rely on here going into conference. But we're able to see a lot of good things. Again, the best we could be is 4-0. So we're definitely proud of our staff and our team for what we've accomplished so far.
We're going to talk a lot about conference play coming up in just a bit, but before we get there, just give me your quick thoughts on heading into Southland Conference play. Obviously, we've heard a lot about this conference, how tough things are going to be, how physical this conference is, and how much of a grind these games are going to be. What are your thoughts heading into that?
Well, if there's a metaphor for it, you better buckle your chin strap and bite down your mouthpiece every week. It's going to be a tough physical battle week in, week out. And, I'd compare it to the NFC East every week, and they're good football teams and they're tough road environments. So it's going to be a challenge. Again, for the first time, on the road next week, one of the top teams in the conference, we're going to see where we stack up, and that's going to be the biggest key. Similar to going into Prairie View with our first Division I opponent, just where do we stack up? We know our goals. We know what we feel like we're capable of, but until we get in there and find out, we don't know yet. But it's going to be a challenge week in, week out. So just excited for that challenge and to see how we stack up.
And it doesn't get much tougher than this when you talk about your first conference game. You go on one of your longest trips, 9.5 hours away in terms of if you were driving it to Hammond, Louisiana, and going on the road to face the first conference opponent. That's about as tough of an environment as you can create for your team. And I'm sure you're excited for them to face that challenge and hopefully grow from it. Yeah,
no doubt. I mean, you don't learn to swim by studying water. You got to jump in. We're jumping in the deep end next week, and so we'll get in and again. But pick to finish last in conference. So what everyone thinks about us, and the way we see it, there's nothing to lose. We're gonna take the risk and let it ride, and let's go see what we can do.
And the players seem to be rallying around that a little bit as well. I know Fabian touched on that last night when in his post game after he scored the touchdown against Texas Wesleyan, and I think the players are excited for the chance to go out there and get a chance to prove it. Go out there and get a chance to show everybody that they have what it takes to compete in the conference. But let's take a look back at some of the big plays from this Texas Wesleyan game. We'll get into a lot of them, but we're going to start in this first segment with the pick from Elijah Prosser. He's been a big playmaker for you guys throughout the course of non-conference play. Another big play.
Yeah, happy for him, and again, way to track that football, go get it, and then make a great run there. Didn't know if he was gonna make it or not. They reviewed it, so he was in, but fired up for him. The defense again to keep getting the takeaways, starting to let that just kind of snowball, and then went from 3 to 5 this week, and again keep putting them in the end zone, and that makes as the offensive play caller, that makes things a lot easier when the defense can score.
And the defense obviously pretty excited for Elijah. I know he said too in postgame, first touchdown he's scored since high school, so I know that's a big thing for the defensive guys getting the end zone there, and as you mentioned, able to stretch out that run, break a tackle, and great job undercutting the route, getting the interception, returning it for the touchdown. Obviously, one of the big plays on the day, but a lot more to come. We're going to get to more of the big plays from the win over Texas Wesleyan in the final non-conference game of the season for UTRGV when we come back on the UTRGV Coaches Show. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show with the head coach of the Vaqueros, Travis Bush. Coach, you guys had a big game on the ground once again in this one. 283 rushing yards, 6 different players with a rushing touchdown in this game. When it came to running the ball, you guys were fantastic again, especially in the first half.
Yeah, it was kind of hit and miss early on, but guys did a great job. Of course, up front, they did a lot of things and mixed up the fronts on us, try to bring a lot of pressure, which helped some of those gap schemes off the edge down here. And Javinsky taking that first one in, did a good job in the red zone. We got in the red zone, being able to run the football in. That was something we've been hounding on offensively. TJ keeps finding his way into the end zone there again. But definitely made it, kind of a point of emphasis this week. We got inside the red zone. We wanted to see if we can pound it in, and pleased with the way the guys ran. And Brandon Carroll got him back in. He stepped out of bounds purposely a couple of times last week, so we made sure we wanted to get him. He deserved a touchdown. Got him in there in the first half, so he was fired up, and he deserved that. And
as you mentioned, TJ getting in for the 4th straight game. Every game he's found the end zone, and it seems like as the running back room as a whole. I mean, we were talking about it in the press box with a lot of different media members. You guys have a very deep running back room. Seems like whoever you put in there is able to make plays, able to showcase their skills. What have you made of that group overall, of all the different players that you have that are so capable of stepping in and making an impact for the team?
Yeah, it's very diverse, and of course we talk about Fabian. Fabian keeps getting better, and you see him his reps increasing. And Nathan Denny will be back next week. We've just rested him. He could have gone last night, but
Fabian's 1 touchdown on the night. Get him in again to the end zone every time in front of the Valley crowd. I know he loves it.
Yeah, but he's earned it. He keeps getting better every week, and such. He's so explosive and very decisive as a runner, and has great vision. And then the pup, Broderick Taylor, he's got a different gear, and so been able to get him in a couple of games there, and we may be able to, we may have to utilize his speed here down the road. But excited about the group, but again, very diverse, and you'll get in this conference. Those guys are gonna take a beating and take some shots, so you need a few of them to keep healthy and kind of mix up the speed there.
Well, touching on Fabian just again for a quick moment, I mean, just seeing him come in, it seems like he's made steps forward each and every week when he stepped in there. And, we've seen, obviously, you see the touchdown again here, but, even on other plays, it's easy to see kind of him getting better at breaking tackles, his shiftiness, making better cuts. And he talked about in the postgame, too, how much he feels like he's learned from guys like Nathan Denny coming in, like Javinsky Schlenbaker coming in, and kind of helping mentor not just him, but, the entire running back room.
Yeah, and he's just done a great job, and he was, really came out of spring as our top running back, and then, of course, we recruited 2 upperclassmen, and he just stepped aside and let them kind of take the lead and take the role. But all he's done is show up every day and bring his hard hat to work, and just keeps his mouth shut and works his tail off. And you just see him steadily working back up the depth chart, and definitely a guy that we need to get the ball to.
And you mentioned needing a lot of those guys because, guys take hits during course of conference play, especially if we're going to be running the ball a lot when it's that physical. It's good to have guys to rotate in and out. I imagine it's a good problem to have as a coach if you're like, man, I have all these talented guys to work with out in the backfield. What am I going to do with all of them? But how do you really approach that? Do you feel like it's a case where each guy has different skill sets? Each guy's, one guy's better, towards the goal line. Obviously, one guy's better in the passing game, things like that. And you kind of have, your pick of the litter when it comes to, all right, we're in 3rd and 8, we're in 3rd and short. This guy's the best in this situation for the play we want to run.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the key to get them all in these early season ball games and non-conference to get a feel for that. But definitely they all have different skills. Guys we like to get out in the pass game, and maybe better ball skills there, and bigger, tougher backs down inside, closer to the goal line. Guys that run the wide zone better than the tight zone. So they all got various things they can do, but they can all help us out.
All right, Coach. Well, when we return on the UTRGV Coaches Show, we're going to get into some of the other big plays from the game against Texas Wesleyan. Obviously, special teams, a big impact in this game. Tony Diaz, another big game, a few big catches. Xavier Nolan also went over 100 yards. But we're going to look at some of the big plays Tony Diaz made and the big plays from the 3rd phase of the game, special teams, when we return on the UTRGV Coaches Show. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show with the head coach of the Vaqueros football team, Travis Bush. Coach, special teams also pretty key in this game for you guys. A lot of big plays made on that side of the ball. You guys able to get a blocked extra point in the game, a safety off a bad snap on a punt for them. So a lot of different things happening on special teams. We're going to take a look at the safety here, but just talk to me about how you felt about all the craziness that was going on special teams.
Definitely. Again, talked about then knowing they were, they'd come in well coached and fundamentally sound across the board, and want to make. We knew we had to be on point special team wise, and they kind of had the mishap there, snapped it over the punter's head. We were in position there to make sure. Heck, almost got a touchdown out of it, but ended up getting a safety there. Did the same thing. They kind of snapped it over the field goal, the holder's hand, so saved a field goal there. And but guys were in position a lot. Thought our kickoff team did well. Flew down the field there and didn't let them get out at all. We had they didn't kick it deep, but they tried to sky kick it, and Ishmael took one about 37, 40 yards down the sideline there. And then the big thing too, no penalties. We talked about penalties last week on punt return, and we're able to get some good returns. And Keelan Sweeney had some good returns in there, the true freshman. But the big key there was eliminate the penalty. So kind of did what we anticipated, what we had expected and wanted to do on special teams.
It's always great when you can make big plays in special teams, because I think we focus so much on offense and defense, but big special teams plays can really swing a game. I mean, we saw what you guys were able to do with the fake punt last week, and it feels like that, as much as it doesn't get talked about a lot, that's really where games can be won or lost, especially in conference play.
No doubt, the hidden yardage piece. Just I think we averaged. Wallace averaged about over 50 yards a punt there. So just the changing the field there when you're punting, and of course pinning them down on our kickoff team, getting our returns out. Just those hidden yardage in the game that do affect the offense and defense. But truly, is special teams is a big factor.
Well, we want to touch on some of the big plays in the receiving game. Obviously, you mentioned Xavier Nolan, another big game at home, 100 receiving yards, but Tony Diaz making a couple of big plays in this one as well. And we talked about his ball skills, and we're going to see it here. Just tremendous job getting up there and fighting for these jump balls in the air.
Yeah, and it's just, he's a guy right now. We feel like right there, we don't call that covered with him. That's one-on-one, and we like those matchups, and we feel like he's going to win those matchups. Same thing here. It's one-on-one, and just put it in a place we can get it, and he's going to go get that ball. So he's proven that week in, week out, and again, excited to get him in this conference now, and so let him match up with some of these top-notch corners and DBs at the FCS level, and put him up to the test there.
Absolutely, and he's just been obviously tremendous during the course of non-conference play, as most of the receiving room's been doing pretty well, and it's great to see again. We've mentioned it a couple times, but Eddie Lee just building that trust with him, because you mentioned, especially when you're one-on-one with another defensive back, your quarterback needs to put a lot of faith in you to either go up and get that ball, or make sure you fight off the defensive back in the battle for it. And Tony does a great job of that every single time. Yeah,
and work on it daily, and that's that's the bottom line. There's going to be tight coverage, man coverage across the board as we get into this, and but it's about those matchups, and if he's one-on-one and putting the ball in a place where he can go get it, and they've got that connection, they're working on it week in, week out, so it's been proven to be very beneficial for us so far.
All right, well, when we return on the UTRGV Coaches Show, we're going to get into the defense, another big night for you guys on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to detail some of the big plays there when we come back on the UTRGV Coaches Show. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show. Coach Bush, your defense, once again, a tremendous effort against Texas Wesleyan. Obviously, 13 points on the board, one of those touchdowns coming off of an interception in the second half. I know the defense mentioned, Elijah Prosser talking post-game. They wanted another shutout. That was on their minds during the course of the game, and so they're a little frustrated that they didn't get to put that up on the board, but still made some tremendous plays throughout the course of the game, forcing 5 turnovers overall. Doing a tremendous job. First play we're going to look at, this one could have been another turnover, got called back, strip sack that got called back, but some great pressure coming in from Ian Box and Nathan Huerta. Yeah,
this again early in the game, but did a good job getting in there, and questionable call. They reviewed it, but you end up reviewing it back or calling it back as an incomplete pass, and fullback quarterback was injured on that play, and really hope he recovers quickly. I think he's going to be fine, but they got a chance to go win that conference again. So hoping he gets back healthy quickly. But again, guys were flying around the football, and hats off Texas Wesleyan. They made some plays. They did a good job, moved the ball well. We gave up some explosive plays there, but the biggest stat we're concerned with is points per game, and they're doing a good job at that right now.
And we also talked earlier about Elijah Prosser, him getting the interception, him making big plays on defense. Elijah Graham the same way. He comes up with the fumble recovery here in the second half, and it's Jaden Petaway coming in from the backside to force it out. Graham pulls it. This could have been another one where he returned it to the house, but an inverted whistle.
Yeah, they kind of looked. If you look at it, it kind of looks like there's a knee down, but it wasn't his. But once they blow a whistle, the play's dead. So that's why everyone kind of stops here. But could have had another chance for return. But again, gave the offense the football there in good field position, and they were able to capitalize on that.
And then this one back in the first half, another forced fumble that you guys had, another one of the turnovers. Percy Jackson coming in, and Mari Pouncey ended up jumping on this one. And just, again, another example of your defense making big plays.
Yeah, again, got in there and actually popped it loose, fell right in his lap. He caught it and took off with it there. But, again, just the more of those things start to, kind of snowball, and guys love it. They start fiending around, they're flying around the football, and they start, everyone wants to get their hands on the football now, and everyone's trying to get turnovers. So, as the much as we can keep getting those and creating those extra possessions here in conference, that'll really help.
And when putting it together with your offense and defense, I mean, if you looked, earlier this week, I haven't checked the updated numbers, but, before this game, if you look where you guys rank in the FCS, it's first, second, and, points per game, yards per game, points allowed, these big-time stats. When you see those numbers, obviously it is early in the season, it's not conference play, but, what's your reaction to those numbers in general when you see those rankings?
It's just kind of, let you know where the standard is, to be at the top of this level, and it's going to take that to stay at the top of this conference. And you get in these conference games and you look at, there's some really good offenses and there's some dang good defenses, and we're about to hit a dang good defense here coming up this week, and so it's going to be week in, week out. But again, we'll get in and see the level of play that we need to be competitive here in this conference, and excited to see where we stack up.
All right, when we return, we're going to talk about the conference that we're heading into, Southland Conference play, starting next week on the road, and then after that, returning home for the first conference home game. We'll look ahead to all of that coming up on the UTRGV Coaches Show. Welcome back into the UTRGV Coaches Show with head coach of the UTRGV football team, Travis Bush. Now, Coach Bush, looking ahead to conference play. Obviously, it's been on everyone's minds all season long. How's it going to work when we get into conference play? Talking to the players post-game last night, Eddie Lee said something that really stood out. Eddie Lee Marburger at quarterback, and I think it's kind of a great example of the mindset the entire team is taken into this season that you've kind of instilled with this group. Is, he's looking at it and saying it's just a great opportunity for everybody to get better. And playing in this conference is going to give everyone the chance on this team to improve as a football player, improve as a team as a whole. Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that they're approaching it that way speaks to the type of team that you kind of put together.
Yeah, no doubt, and they have that chip on the shoulder, and then that's what, again, they have something to prove, and that's kind of this program does, and that's kind of where we'll start out. But no one thinks that no one outside our building thinks that we're going to win a conference game, and that's kind of where they picked us, as they should, being a new program in a tough conference. So, but our guys are fired up. They have that chip on the shoulder. They want to go prove themselves. So again, and playing one of the toughest teams on the road right off the bat, and their mentality is let's go play. So again, we'll get in. We'll have a great week. We'll attack them and prepare and plan and practice like we have week in, week out to go win and try to be 1-0 at the end of the week. As
far as Southeastern specifically, what can we expect? Would the message be to fans about the type of opponent that they are?
They're very good. They're 2-2, but their two losses were to FBS schools. Right. They just played LSU last night, and talking to the coaches at La Tech, they played Louisiana Tech, and their defensive line, was hard for Louisiana Tech to block. So we're gonna have our work cut out for us up front. That's kind of what the top teams in this conference is. That the front seven on defense, their offensive lines, the running backs. So it'll be a lot more juniors and seniors and experienced guys. But definitely, defensive front that's going to be solid. The best we've seen by far this season. They're going to be solid across the board offensively. They can put some points on the board, and they're going to have great-looking receivers. They play with two quarterbacks, so they're going to they hit you with two different tempos there at quarterback. But it's again, they're solid across the board, and it's going to force us, like Eddie talked about, it's going to force us to be better, to play our best football. Hopefully we've been improving each week, and we are playing the best football we can at this point, and we'll see how that measures up next Saturday.
When you're facing an opponent with a great position group like that, like on the defensive line, are there things you can do at practice to make it tougher on the offensive line to try to get them more prepared for facing a group like that? Yeah, we just go more good on good, go against ourselves and put the best front out there we can. Same thing for our defense, put our first offense out there and give them a quick look, because their offense is going to be quick and physical and very multiple as well. So, just trying to, again, you focus on your fundamentals this time of year and, try
try to cover everything, but it forces you. You know, you go back to, you talk special teams, you talk hidden yardage, you talk takeaways, turnovers, extra possessions, all those things. When you get in these ball games, that's where those things become so key. And your angles and tackling, missed tackles, and you know, drop footballs. You know, those things, those opportunities that you kind of miss. You know, we've missed some opportunities. We've gotten away with them. We're not going to be able to miss those opportunities. We're going to have to take advantage of opportunities as well. You know, we got our hands on a few balls to create interceptions that we haven't come away with the past few weeks. So those things, as you'll see, though, as we get into conference, those plays are going to be huge. And really for everybody, not just us. That's everybody week in, week out in the Southland.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate you joining us once again. Look forward to the conference opener and joining you again next week after the Southeastern game, and looking ahead to the first conference home game, which will be against Houston Christian just about 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks from last night, Saturday, as you guys picked up your 4th win, 4-0. And I hope that you guys can have a good performance against Southeastern on the road in Hammond. Of course, long trip. Safe travels to you and your team. We'll talk to you again next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Bush. Thank you for watching us and joining us once again here on the UTRGV Coaches Show. We'll see you next time.